Okay. Well, we'll see. So,
Now I do.
Got it.
Now
Right.
I got it.
okay. So we're sure real life now. So, welcome everyone for our first check-in of the CoStarting cohort. How's everyone's week been?
Pretty good. I think I got some good leeway and just learned a lot today or throughout the week.
Put it all up to today, huh?
Yeah.
A very productive Friday, you mean?
Awesome. Okay. So I mean, you guys know what we're gonna do. We'll just do a check-in for everyone, and hopefully a bit of a demo or progress report of some sort. It's of course up to you guys what you want to share, what you can share. Our projects are quite different. I would start, if you guys don't mind, and I'll pull up the slides as well. So we'll go over a couple of slides here, and then I'll show you my demo of what's working so far. If you guys are following me on Twitter, you've seen the latest GIF from last night, which is already working somewhat. And then we'll pass it along to the next participant. Okay, let's see here. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
Okay, it goes in percent mode. Excellent. Okay, yeah, like we said, first week's check-in. CoinDrop is my project. I think you heard me talk about it before. My biggest obstacle for myself is usually that I over-engineer things. I think about it needs to be too much, not even too perfect necessarily, but it just needs to be real fancy and do a lot of things all at once, right away. And that doesn't work. Doesn't work for me anyways. I usually just get myself in a pickle and try to do too many things, and then none of them work. So I did overcome that for the most part this week, and really just try to do it as crudely as I could, and stop thinking about what it looks like or if it's that best scalable platform or the best scalable technology I'm using. I did do, in the end, after I looked at my 4-week planning, I did actually a bit more than I intended to this week, I think. But it's not all done, right? Like, so the first steps of these things, which are crossed out, you see here, they're kind of done, but they're certainly not ready to be released. But I do have I found a word list, which I cleaned up pretty quickly right away, I think last Saturday. I put together the database. I actually started working on setting up my own database in Docker, Mongo database on my server. And again, back to that big achievement, I was like, all right, stop that. You don't need that right now. Let's use Firebase. Super easy, works out of the box, right? It's all there. Took me a little bit to get back into that, but I have used it in the past, and it's free, for the beginning until you have quite a bit of usage. I created my algorithm, which is, really pretty simple. It's a pretty simple algorithm to select 3 words. That's all working. And then I integrated a payment gateway, same thing there. I don't know if any one of you is reading my blog. I actually started blogging, which should also be, I guess, a achievement for this week. I started blogging daily right away. So I released the blog the first day, my weekly blog, and I write every single day about what I have been doing that day. So kind of as an analogous to Twitter, I just put a little bit more details there, a couple of more screenshots or the technologies I've used. So if anyone wants to follow along, I'm trying to be diligent about that and update the blog every day. And I'm going to have 4 separate blog posts per week. And on that blog yesterday, I described how I was intending to use Stripe and again, do that on my server. Then I thought, okay, I don't have to do it on a server. I can do it on a Firebase cloud function. And then I thought about Gumroad, which if you're not familiar with it, it's a great platform for makers and anyone really who wants to sell something online. And I started using that, integrated it, which took me all about 10 minutes. And right now I'm putting the final touches on automating that into my workflow. So next week, I need to work a little bit on the UI, that payment integration I was just mentioning. And the goal is that I'm going to get the website up as a first version. I'm sure it's going to change a bunch over the 2 weeks after that, but that would be the goal. I did start to track my KPIs. Those are numbers from yesterday. So hopefully today they're quadrupled already. I doubt it, but maybe. I did get 18 signups on my mailing list. I can't really take full credit from the program or anything like that for that, because I really just, that was cold outreach to one person. I am pretty proud of that. I did get the founder of Product Hunt to agree to be on my mailing list and give me advice. We'll see if there's any advice coming in the future, but he will get my emails from now on. And 17 more other contacts from LinkedIn, from my network I built over the last couple of years. I actually went through all 66 pages of my LinkedIn connections and didn't message everyone, but probably about half of them or so. So not that great of a turnout, really. 17 said yes, or 17 did sign up. I see it on the website. I had 8 blog visits and all in all 5 interactions on Twitter. Oops, I'm not going to go there. Geeklets Garments 10% after that, but I did want to show the website real quick. Like I said, looks like shit, but it doesn't matter. What I did, I'm going to have 2 functionalities, as you guys know. You can either get a randomly generated address, which you can get for free, your wallet address, and those are pretty interesting. This one, for example, is pretty good. Lobster pansy, pretty interesting combinations, which I might just. I'll see how it goes. If it gets a lot of traffic, who knows? Maybe those are even worth charging for. But then, of course, what the main business model is that I have custom addresses people can reserve for themselves. And to show you how that works, let's just try it out real quick. Demo test 1, and then whatever, test at test.com. And you'll reserve that. Right now, again, nothing's really fancy, but it does show. Let me show you this real quick in the database. Demo test 1 just got entered here. So again, super simple, really just who bought it or who reserved it, and what's their, I call them triplets, what's their address. And at this, I mentioned in the blog too, I need to change the workflow. So this should only go into the database once the purchase is actually confirmed. So if someone says they want this, it's pre-filled out who is buying it. And this is kind of the test test credit card from Gumroad. So I don't charge myself all the time, but it goes through, and in a minute I'll get an email from Gumroad that I sold something, which of course also just a test email. But that's about it. That's all that's working so far. Everything needs to be fixed, but I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, very cool.
A quick question that I apologize, you might have answered it last week, but how does the translation happen then for let's say that you're going to transfer funds onto that account then, or to that wallet? How does where does the translation take place?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that part, of course, doesn't exist yet, right? So because my scope is to build out the concept first, and then to people have, like, this is a pre-sale, by the way. Gumroad has that already ready-made, a pre-sale form. Those credit cards won't be charged until I think I put in May 1st, which would be the target to have the wallet built out. And then instead of just getting those 2 things, the email address and the triplet, into the database, there would be, of course, a step in between or before where you actually have to create your wallet, right? So your Bitcoin wallet, which then actually has a cryptographic address. And for the time being, it would be like Venmo, for example. You need the Venmo app, or you go to the Venmo website to use that, right? So the same thing, you would go to CoinDrop and use it there. I am thinking about this a lot, though. How can you make this more user-friendly, right? And for example, I don't know, create a Chrome extension or something. It'd be great if that address would just work in different formats, right?
Right,
but of course, like, how would it? I'm not a domain registrar or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, unless you lowered it to instead of triplets, it would be a doubles, and then own the top level domain, something like that. Just thinking out loud here, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I did think about that. So kind of CNAMEs, right, on my domain. So it would be send.sven.money at a dot coindrop.me, but that's already kind of extending it quite a bit.
right,
I had thought about a lot and read up on how URL shorteners do it, right? It's a very similar concept. And they essentially, it's the same thing, right? They just, they have a short URL for their own domain already, and that's how they generate new ones. But even that, I think, making that more user friendly, if there is enough enough demand, we'll figure that out.
So of the signups, you said you blasted many of your LinkedIn connections. So how many, let's say, how many did you message this versus how many 18 signups? But what's the ratio? What's the
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't even know how many it was, but so I remember 66 pages. I want to say maybe I messaged a third to a half of them. I probably got a response on LinkedIn from maybe 50. Some of them saying, yeah, I'll sign up, and they never signed up, right? I can see if you signed up or not. So I call you out, guys.
What? How did you do that on LinkedIn?
Just my connections, already existing connections.
How did you send a blast out to your contacts somehow?
No, I actually spent probably about 6 hours or so going through all of them.
All right.
Yeah.
What did you say? What did you say initially?
Okay, so I have to admit, I was actually mostly approaching them from a different angle, not from CoinDrop, but from my personal blog.
Okay.
Or well, how I'm working on it is setting up my personal brand, right?
Yeah.
And then I directed them to that, and I mentioned CoStarting and CoinDrop. And so the ones I did get the signups from were also the ones I thought were most likely, which are people who I know are interested in the things I'm doing.
Okay.
Right? And that's kind of how I position it. It's like, hey, long time no talk. I did personalize all of the messages, like, hey, last time, I saw you 5 years ago in Princeton or whatever. These are the things I'm up to right now. Be great if you could sign up, and I'm looking for feedback, right? That's why I did it. I'm trying to get as much feedback from as many people as possible.
Okay.
But let's continue, because we will get cut off again at 1 hour.
Yeah, looking at the time, and we're 5, so I think we need to move on.
So Emmy, take the lead.
Yay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's me, Gigless Garments. This week, it was a bit of a roller coaster. So I had planned to shoot my week 1 and week 2 videos this week, as well as making my week 1 and week 2 newsletter. That didn't happen. So my first video was a little rough. It was a little hard for a couple of reasons. I just I made it too long, and then that combined with my subpar editing skills, it just took me way too long. And then my sewing machine kept jamming, and it was a big fiasco. And I think that's when I messaged the Slack group. I feel like an idiot for committing to 2 videos a week. But the second one was a lot better, and kind of got me back on track and feeling good about my goals. So that was a good thing. Next week, I really need to start reaching out to those other creators, to my Facebook groups, and again, continuing to create that content, because I didn't do it this week like I thought that I was going to. So that kind of sucks. But it shouldn't be too bad, and hopefully the video creation process will only get easier as I do it more. So that's the hope there. And I prepared a little video. Oh, wait, I'll do my KPIs first. Okay, KPIs. YouTube subscribers, I have 3. Big numbers here. My newsletter subscribers, I have 4. Oops. 2 of which are my husband, so. Sales, still at a big whopping 1, and Google Analytics is telling me I've had 0 blog visitors, but I don't think that's possible. So Sven's gonna have to try to figure out what's going on with that after this call. So I made a little video about my first week that I want to share with you because I don't have a product to take you through. Now let's see if I can make this work.
The internet loves cats, so this will be a hit, right?
The flattest. Jesus. What the fuck? And there you have
Nice.
it.
Cool.
Well done. So I'm curious about that. So you sold one item. That's really good.
Yeah, that was
That's
actually
great.
I think that was actually the week before we started though. That was just
Okay.
a random Etsy generated sale.
Okay.
Hang on, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. So yeah, the big thing was the videos, and just continuing to do actual work on the product, which isn't the focus of what I'm doing with CoStarting, but of course is something that I'm always going to have to be doing.
What did you edit the video together with?
iMovie, yeah. Yeah, it's super easy. But still, like, the first one I made was 9 minutes long, and it was like, it took me 1 day to shoot the entire thing and then an entire day to edit and upload it to YouTube because it kept failing and everything. So that was a little stressful.
Is there a way to are you like planning it out beforehand or just kind of going in off the cuff like your videos?
I am planning it to an extent. Like it's based on kind of what project I'm going to work on. So I know what I'm going to do. I don't have like exactly what I'm going to say or anything like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. I can attest she's in her well, in our old garage, really, and you can tell because the
Justin's
pressure
room.
washer and
My old room.
yeah, Justin's room, yes. The pressure washer and welders in the
Oh, yeah.
background, so we'll have to make that a little bit more studio-like over time. But it's a good start. Just starting is the biggest point, right?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Who's next in line? Actually, though.
I believe it's me.
Justin. Yeah, I think it is you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and luckily I tried this right before starting here. If I go full screen on the browser window, it's going to crash. So for now, I'm just going to share it this way, but that's okay because it's only a couple of slides.
Cool.
So a quick update on Optionator. The big achievement here is getting a better grasp on stock option trading, and then also building my first prototype, very, very prototype Mac application for the first time in 15 years. A quick side note here, because I never mentioned this last week, is that some people may be thinking, why in the world did you go ahead and pick an industry like this, trading or stock options, if you know nothing about it? And that's a good question because this wasn't my idea. A couple of months ago, when I was just talking with a colleague of mine and said how I wanted to get back into developing Mac applications and just wanted an idea for a seemingly small and simple app or utility. He had mentioned that he was getting into stock options trading and thought that just a way to look at his portfolio at a quick glance and manage it right on the desktop, not commit any trades, but just to look at his portfolio in real time would be pretty useful. And there are some other ones out there, but they're either the freemium with ads, what everyone's used to. So I figured just build a nice application with a one-time purchase and does exactly that. So that's where the idea came from. And I thought that it would be quite simple out of the gate. And then I realized, and I think that I put something in there, who knew that it's more than just buying and selling. It's actually a very, very intricate and complex. So I'm still just scratching the surface on stock options trading, but it's very much knowledge that I will need. So I've been spending, or rather had to commit much more time than expected into that discipline than what I thought I'd be spending in actually developing anything out. So last week's plan, as I just mentioned, I had to spend more time than expected in training, and that being the biggest barrier as well. But app progress, at least on track, which is nice as well, because again, I think I mentioned before, it's the first time using the development environment tool that I had used many, many years ago, again, for the first time. Next week's plan is to continue trying to source and find an API or service that I can scrape for live stock market data. The status quo was Yahoo, which had a free API up until last year that everybody used. Now, and they discontinued it, of course. Now everybody wants rather charge per API call. So I'm still trying to find another way, at least now for the demo, to scrape right off of a site and just pull that in for now. Obviously not a permanent solution. And then continue building out the app with the basic functionality of adding and saving your list of options, symbols, etc. And then actually that last item is not valid. Timeline, I suppose, is still on track. Then for KPIs, I changed this from page views to unique users to the blog, which I don't understand how. Maybe I should put this over to kickoff, but I've had 32 actual user sessions in the blog since it launched, which it launched the day after we started this. So I'm not sure. Well, granted, a couple of them came from China, so not sure how valid they are. But either way, I'll take 32 unique user sessions where I can get them. And then for a very quick demonstration here of a non-functioning app, this is what I've been struggling with. As you can see here, the information that I want to present. I don't want to use a list box. As you can see, it's just not very conducive, and I only actually have a few of the columns populated, so it's not too useful once this actually gets populated with multiple rows of your options and every column to actually be populated. But this is where you would store all the information of your portfolio, and then as the options were being transacted, you would have your summary over here. And then the ability, of course, just to add and remove the rows. So again, you're not actually committing any transactions or trades here. It's solely you're inputting that information and then tracking it as opposed to making trades. So obviously very, very simple and straightforward UI, but I'm going to have to throw this out and scrap it and come up with a better approach on how to view each one. I'm thinking more so where you have an option you click into, and then instead of populating a list box, it'll have each field representative of the attributes for that trade. But either way, that's just me thinking out loud here, so not for this call. But yeah, that's my progress so far.
Cool.
So I don't know. I think I read somewhere at some point that whenever let's say you're done with your app and you want to release it right in the App Store, in this case the Apple App Store, like the code goes through kind of a review. Have you looked into it? I mean, could that be a problem down the road, like that would prevent you from releasing?
So I did actually identify that too in my original timeline that wasn't shown here today. But yeah, so it's actually even more, it's different, a different set of rules from the iOS or iPad OS App Store as it is for the Mac App Store. So I, of course, will be launching for the Mac App Store, and there you need to have sandboxing, because you can build an app, unlike with iOS, you can build an app that can grab and do anything it wants to with the system. But if you release it in the Mac App Store, it must be sandboxed, keep its preference files and any documents in specific locations. You can't just use the desktop or a custom folder. So there's a bunch of specifics there that you'll have to adhere to. From what I've been able to see, and with such a basic functionality of an app, I don't expect any issues. But I know that there will be problems when it comes to, I think that there's, with the entitlements and code signing, the typical stuff that you have to do with any of the app stores, whether it's Google or Apple. That stuff I will have to worry about and handle. On top of course, subscribing as a developer program member, so that's $99.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Arki. So are you assuming to try to launch like a week before, or are you considering the review process? If it's shipped to the review, is that good enough for your launch criteria, or is it you want it to be?
That's a better question. So as of late, and I say late, but probably well over 6 months now, iOS App Store submissions take a day, but Mac App Store submissions do not. They can take up to a week still. So that is a good question. I did say live in the App Store as my launch criteria, but I would be open to any adjustments if I have proof of submitting it.
I think it's like, if you can demo it, right? Like you can show the working version, and if Apple throws you a monkey wrench, then I think we can get around that somewhere.
Well, and side note too, I was thinking as well. I'm not exactly sure where the idea came from to launch in the Mac App Store to begin with. I prefer selling it on my own platform outside of it, and then using my own payment gateway. And then you don't have, you just launch it. As soon as it's live on the website and the binary is uploaded, then I'm live. So maybe go that route. But again, like I said, the success criteria was signing up for and getting an app approved. So it's very different criteria there.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? From a CoStarting cohort perspective, like, and again, we're not, gonna be that strict, I think, but these details matter, right? And like, of course, we can't overanalyze it either, because if you spend 4 weeks planning what's your perfect launch criteria, then you're never gonna start even. But those are the things we don't think about, and if you don't go through it a couple of times, you just don't have that experience. So that's why we're doing this here, right? I think for very early stage projects, or founders or makers, this is why you just need to do it. This is why you just need to launch anything and get that experience. And if you did it 10 times, then you know exactly how much you're gonna get done in a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or where those obstacles are. Great, awesome. Arki, I think you're up.
All right, I'll share my screen.
We're good on time, I think.
Yeah. Okay, and I think
just me taking so much in the beginning.
I'll be quick. Good. All right. So I'll do the same. I won't make it full screen, but so the big achievement is that I have a basic algorithm that finds recipes on different hashtags, and I'll give you a quick demo. So that was what the plan, right? Just to come up with the most primitive way to get reliably some recipes, and I think I found one, and it's very simple when you think about it. I downloaded a lot of data, and when I was analyzing, I spent, I would say, about 4 hours. I think I reported it here, just looking at the different posts, on hashtags related to food. And there are two types, and this is, I guess, the big observation that on Instagram, there's a lot of people, like, food is very popular. People post these pictures, right? Which Instagram is the primary media there, pictures. And sometimes they put just a very short description, like whatever, pasta, right? Basil pasta. And then some of them, really a smaller subset of those pictures, do have a recipe, but many of them say, hey, the recipe is on my website, right? So that they are trying to pull all that traffic to their website for whatever reason, maybe to get the advertisement money or to sell something, right? But then there are a few others that actually share the recipe there. And I would say, I thought to myself, it's like, what's the bare minimum for a post to be a recipe? And in my opinion, it's just a list of ingredients, right? I mean, anyone who has cooked, if you just see the list of ingredients, you can figure out the process. So I think I establish that as the main criteria. Any post that contains a list of ingredients is what I consider a recipe. So I'll show you now how this thing looks like, and it's just I'll pull data as it goes, and it will take a while, but this is just I'm using this to APIs that I reported on, and hopefully it's working. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so it's just now scanning over Instagram, thousands of posts. I'm not printing everything. I'm just printing the hits. And I'm looking for recipes on pasta. And for example, this is one of them. And then I'll stop it so it doesn't continue. But I want to bring your attention to this interesting post, right? There is a title. This is the actual post. This is the user that posted it. This is the post ID. This is the title, or from here all the way to, I would say, I don't know the end. The point is that this is a list of ingredients, right? And it's giving you that it has all these ingredients. Some of them tell you the process as well, but I think I'm primarily focusing on the list of ingredients, and I'm accomplishing that. So now that I have this basic algorithm, the next step is going to be to plug it into a server that it's pulling recipes all the time, right? And I need to time this well, because Instagram puts some quota on the data that you pull. So it needs to be every 3 hours or whatever. Another important thing is that I haven't found a good mechanism for me to advertise those recipes. On Instagram, it's not so easy to reshare something. Actually, it's not a feature that it's built in. So I still need to find, and I need help with that. If you guys have ideas on how I could reshare this person's post, I don't want to take their pictures. I don't want to take their description. It's their work, right? Probably it's even protected. They own the rights to it. So to avoid all that, I just want to find a good mechanism for my visitors to visit their profile and for them to take the entire credit. But I'm still I've been exploring options. There are some apps where you can reshare on Instagram, but I don't want to go that route. I would prefer that the robot, even if it just goes to the original post, for example, and puts out like a reference to all the people interested in these recipes. That could be a way, so at least they get a notification. So I'll be thinking about that, on how to put this on a server so that it's pulling all the data, getting the popular recipes, and then marking or tagging the users that wanted the recipes in there. So now going into, I'm still on track. And the KPIs, I think, is the other interesting thing. I thought about like kind of followers. So I'm hitting this well. So I'm 2x the projected number of followers, 0 donations. And again, like it was discussed before, this was a bad choice, right? I don't think anyone would donate, but anyway, that's the criteria. So I'm sticking to it, and I need $5. So I'll start campaigning down maybe week 4, but I'm not too concerned about this. Anyway, I already put out a recommendation and 13 likes, and so I wanted 20. So I'm getting some likes and so on. So that's it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thanks.
Arki, on the donations, how do you have a method to take donations, or just through our money pool?
Yeah, I think I would route them to that money pool, because I think that's open to anyone, right, who wants to donate.
It is, yeah. The only thing we
Okay.
need to you need to include then is like they need to somehow, describe that like it's for you,
I
right?
see. Okay.
I think it's
Right.
possible with the money pool, but like, I mean, if there is a $5 donation, whoever claims it first, I guess. If you claim it, it's fine.
So I thought of also I described this before, right? Like putting a Patreon account, but I think it's just too much overhead. That's just putting me out of focus, right? I just want the easiest way to get this in, if at all, and that's it. I don't care about that. I care about the functionality, not about the donation. So
if you want to stick with PayPal has a couple of super quick ones, right? If you just want like a one button thing, PayPal has a donate thing. I don't know how much effort that is to set up, but you could just have a Archie PayPal.me or whatever it is, pay.me or something. They have like that short payment page, and which you could set up and then just include in every post on Instagram from the bot. So if you want to support me, donate here.
oh, that's great. That's good. That's good. I also found something else, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but on GitHub, there is this program. I think I forget what it's called, but essentially it's like if you're a developer and you're contributing to cool stuff for the community through GitHub, you can also get sponsorships. I thought that's interesting. But again, I don't want to distract myself with this stuff. I just want to get the functionality out, the robot up and running, and I'll get these donations in any shape or form. The easiest way.
Have you heard of?
You're gonna run into any issues in regards to the rate limiting on the APIs?
So these libraries that I'm using, they have kind of a self-control. Once they get a hint that they exceeded the quota, they throttle down. If Instagram really bans you, there is a time limit. So I think it's 5 minutes. So then the API will just simply go to sleep, detect that, go to sleep, and try again.
Okay.
So that's the way it's set up, right? And I put the links somewhere else. So these are really cool APIs that these guys have developed.
Okay, great.
Have you heard of Banner Bear?
No, never heard.
It's where I'm working right now. They use it to create a piece of optimized Instagram content for users. Okay. So it's taking somebody's Twitter post and optimizing it for Instagram and sending it to them via email. I'm not sure if that would help you out or not.
Interesting. Yeah. So maybe we can exchange that link over the Slack channel. I'm interested. Yeah, I'll take a look.
What's like your overall like plan to do with the recipes? Just to reshare it on your Instagram account, or maybe?
No, right. So that's the big question. Actually, I don't want to reshare them. Right, if possible, I want the original authors to get the full credit.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be taking their content in any shape or form. I just want to point out my subscribers into the good recipes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What if you created like the best of Instagram recipes website, and you can maybe feature them on that website, and then maybe they could also they could set up a payment wall for themselves to add like special recipes. Maybe they can take a donation for their recipes. I don't know, something.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, that's definitely super interesting. Yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah, this can be a thing, because the way I set up the Wix blog, right? They asked me, "Hey, do you want to link your social media accounts?" I said, "Yes, I have an Instagram, and every time I post a picture on Instagram, it shows on my blog." But then, but I guess the point being that yes, I think there is an integration between Instagram and all these blogging platforms or websites. So I think that I see that a possibility. So that's very interesting. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that was going to be a similar question from my side, right? Like, how do you envision your user front end to be? Because, like, I think that website idea is great, and that would be kind of the main portal. But since you are on Instagram, you should also maybe not reshare their content, but share, like maybe you share summaries per day. It's like, hey, 50 new barbecue recipes. Here are the links to those, right? Or however you can link to the Instagrams.
Right.
You could also use your Twitter bot, right? Maybe Twitter is your front end, where like how you share it, I'm not sure, you're the expert in that side, but like whatever the bot does, like how do you get that out into the world, right? And then
Exactly.
you can always link back to the original content so that for the
Right.
details.
So I envision a mechanism for people to subscribe to the bot. On Instagram, you could call my bot, and anytime if you do @MarkUmami I'll know through the API, right, that I'm scraping all the time. So I know who called me on which hashtag, right? Let's say @BotUmami #barbecue. I know that Sven wanted recipes on barbecue. So I put you on my database, and then as I scrape the barbecue hashtags, I get the top ones. And then if I find a good one, like the one we just saw, let's say, then I'll go to that original post and say, @MarkSven, here is your recipe. And that would be a way to close the loop. That's
I
one
like
way.
it. I like it. I like that a lot, actually. That's nice. And then you went around like having to even repurpose or link to the original content, right? Like you just
Right.
tag people in their content, the people
Exactly.
who you know are interested in their content. I like that
Right.
a lot, and the original creators are gonna love that.
Right. Hopefully. Right. So yeah, it's just now really now setting up the server and trying these mechanisms out to see if they work well and so on.
Yeah.
I have a question, Arky, actually.
Yeah.
I think we have time. So I'm on Instagram a lot, but in like the vegan space, and a lot of people do like those little short Bosch style videos. Like
Okay.
like the recipe wouldn't actually be in the text of the Instagram caption because you know you have like IGTV now and like the reels, they keep trying to push people towards video. Um, it might just be out of the scope of like what you're doing right now, but is there a way that you could kind of figure out that content as well, or do you just have, you know, do you have enough just from the captions that you don't need to do that? Just an
Yeah.
idea.
I think that right. No, I think that's valid, right? And yes, I've seen that Instagram is pushing people to make videos with the
Yeah.
reels and so on. So I think for those cases where there is no or very little description of what the content is about, I think that would be probably like the version 5 or 6 of this.
Right.
But for now, I think focusing on the Instagram on the ingredient list, I think that's a good indicator. Uh, Another I think interesting thing is the hashtags. People that let's say hashtag vegan, that's the content that I started looking into, also the word clouds, right? I thought that's another way to maybe make the bot interesting in a sense that content creators in the vegan space want to have the highest possible exposure in the community. So the question is, what are the most popular hashtags in the vegan space? So that's the picture I've been generating every week. I started with keto and with barbecue. Maybe next week I'll do the vegan one. And it's interesting because that also brings me new followers. That's what has brought me the followers, right? So some people are actually finding that useful and interesting. And I put in text all these hashtags, so hopefully they can actually copy and paste them in their content. But
That's
yeah,
interesting.
That is
yeah, but
interesting because my question was going to be, as Emmy was talking, how do you define or decide if it's a good recipe or not, right? So let's assume you get enough, right? Like, and you'll figure that out soon with the algorithm. If what it runs one day and found 10,000 recipes per category, that's probably fine. But like, then how do you figure out which ones? How do you rank them? Do you have an idea on that already?
right. So I guess one, I'll do it weekly, so I know that I need to look for the last week only. And then all those can be ranked by, let's say, stars, or whether that user has a lot of followers or it received a lot of comments. So we can combine all these criteria to get the most popular ones. That would be a way, right? That would be really the most straightforward way to think about this.
Yeah, awesome.
And also make sure not to repeat those recipes, right? So, right. Yeah, okay. But looking at the time, thanks for all the suggestions. This is very useful. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, last but not least.
Alrighty. Let's see here. All right. So it was an interesting week for Babblebox. Nothing too explosive though. My big achievement, for this week, this actually came in today. It kind of made some things prevalent for me. My target user is a little out of scope in terms of just like indie hackers and independent software devs. This person was in a community that I'm in, she's a growth marketer. So I'm going to take this signal and try to run with it and maybe rework my target user and try to find out where these types of people are living on the internet. So all week was kind of slow. So this was kind of like awesome today just to get, some sort of signal for something. So I'm going to chase that feeling as much as possible. So I was pretty much on par with my plan. I got my wireframes, pretty much the core functionality down, and I'll demonstrate that for us. The person that's helping me with it is working on the APIs and connecting all that stuff for me. So they're working on that at the moment in terms of like Reddit API, Product Hunt, and then I have a person that I talk to that's a dev, and they mentioned that for indie hackers to add that community to the platform, we would have to like build some sort of like automation scraping tool. So they would have to work some magic there. I didn't have any signups, and I think that's my fault. My website is a little jinky in terms of the layout, and so I'm probably gonna have to go in there, fix all the copy, change the layout, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I tried, doing some, community outreach just to get some interest. Nothing came through for my plan, so I might have to rework my approach there. And then I just need, like I said here, I just need to be more forward about helping people achieve their small goals. Maybe being more prevalent about that and stating that that I want to help you get over some small hurdle right now instead of just being general help. So next week, I'm really gonna chase, getting 5 signups. Just starting the email list. I want to try to demonstrate some sort of a working design of my wireframes. And then, like I said, I have to push harder and rework maybe my my target market here in terms of like growth marketers or content managers, community managers. Maybe that's where my my target is right now. So I'll have to play around with that. Let me bring up my wireframes here. So this is the basic layout that I'm thinking right now. So a user would sign up, would then be able to add communities, but that's going to change because it's going to be just dedicated to these 4 communities right now. And after I spoke with that person who reached out to me saying that they, to let them know when I have this ready, they had mentioned that they would want to be able to manage like their Discords, their Slacks, and there was one other one that she had mentioned. So that kind of brings up an interesting concept as well. Then the user would obviously sign into each of these communities from the platform. From here, you could create one message to go out to all the communities. So here's the thought process here. So I had to look at a lot of the the layouts and what was different between each community, and when posting something. Most of them had body, message, and title. Instagram or Reddit and Indie Hackers has the ability to choose groups to send to, as well as subreddits to target. And then they also have the ability just to send just a link. So when you toggle that on, it would look something like this. And you could schedule these out. Then there's a link in the text option, something like this. And then, so if you don't want to just send one message out to one of the same message out to all of the communities, then you could go into this other dash here, where you can actually reply, comment, and send messages. Even see, current content that's on the homepage, and you can search through that. You can click those. You can comment on those. You can manage the content that you've sent out already. So this is something that you sent out to the community, and then it would track. If someone's commented on it, you would click it. You could see all the people who've commented, and then you could actually, it sort of acts like a kind of like an intercom, like a chat, a live chat piece of software where you can where you have like unresolved tickets, and then when you actually put some input into it, it'll actually click off or toggle on resolved. And you can create a message or comment. This is what commenting would look like. It would look like kind of like a live chat box. So I'm trying to keep it like very light and familiar when the user is in there. So like something like a Slack almost. And if you were to, so on this section here, if you were to view like new content that's on the homepage, you would click one if you're interested in replying to it, and then this would be the ongoing message or query from whoever had posted that inside the community, and you could hit reply and whatnot, and comment on that. So it has like the feel of like a Slack mixed in with like a live chat support piece of software. So that's the primary functionality right now. Let me show you my website.
I know who did that.
So my initial goal with the website was to try to get people to actually click through to the pricing plans. I linked up a heat map to the website itself, so I could track where the clicks were, and if people clicked on the pricing, it would take them just as just saying almost there. We're going to get this out to you soon, and this would signal to me that people want to buy it. So I think people are confused at what I'm trying to at my website. So this is where I probably have to make this more apparent for an early sign up, and stop giving the visitors so much friction into trying to sign up for this early. And that's that.
Just a quick time check. I think we're gonna our live stream is gonna be cut off here in the next couple of minutes.
Okay.
First feedback from me, very awesome. I love that you're doing customer discovery. what did you put out into the community to get that piece of feedback, which is, about as good as it could be in that stage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had joined, this kid on Indie Hackers reached out to me and asked me to join his Slack. And what I did, I just put out, what I'm building right now. And she just goes, hey, that looks really cool. And I started asking her some questions, what other communities would you be into? I haven't asked her, I want to actually get a confirmation on what she does professionally. So I'm probably gonna poke and prod at that, and just to get some more information out of her, just to create a better feel for my potential target. Because right now, like I said, I might be going after the wrong target. Like I might have to go after people who are creating content, who are managing communities like that, growth marketers. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Am I still sharing?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
So curious, what's the relationship like with the developer that you have? Like, is that an equity share?
No, it's just someone that I'm actually paying to to consult with me and to also build things if I need them, which I've used them before just to build little things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe the way I until now, right? I realized that what you're building, Babelbox, it's really like it's something that organizes all your discussions, right, throughout multiple forums like Indie Hackers or Hacker News and Reddit. Am I getting the right idea?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Okay.
spot on. Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
So it's like you can post the same content on multiple sites, but also you can consolidate all the feedback and reply to those threads through Babelbox. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. I think this is going to be great. Like, I can totally see myself using that too, for multiple use cases, right? We talked about use cases before already, like for product launches, to manage your product launch across multiple channels. It'd be great.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, I don't. Yeah, that'd be awesome to be able to do that from that one platform.
All right. So curious, like, what was your idea of the main user or the main persona?
Yeah, so I'm basing it off this premise of building audience first, enhancing your audience. You're part of a particular community, so and then you want to be helpful and engaging in those communities. Answering questions, putting questions out. That puts you out there. That creates your brand personally, and you put your own brand out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that does, if you can do that at scale in one spot, I think that would be awesome, for somebody who's trying to grow their audience, and develop really good relationships, which has a long-term effect and a short-term effect in terms of just building, maybe an email list quickly and giving people a reason to follow you more easily.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. So again, I'm pretty sure we're going to be cut off here in just a second from our time limit from Jitsu. So let's be a little more graceful today. We can all stay on a couple more minutes, but thanks everyone for presenting. This is super cool to see. I was kind of aching for the progress updates from everyone during the week already. So this is why I started CoStarting, right? And I can't wait for the next week. Super cool updates. Thanks everyone. Any last words before I stop the stream?
Yeah, it's fun, and thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the suggestions.
Yeah, if anyone watches this, reach out to us, and just you need help on a project that you're making or developing, reach out to us. Because everybody.
And you meant to say, Steve, for anyone watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one concurrent viewer, but that's probably myself looking at the live stream dashboard. So but yes, for everyone out there, that's for sure. Give us your feedback, right? Like, and let us know if you want to get involved in any of the projects other than with just donations. Other than that, we will see you next week, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, everyone.